Welcome, sweet friends, to the channel Frugal Money Saver. My name is Emmy. My husband is Paul. We're so happy you're here today. A big hello to all our new subscribers and those of you who have been with us for a while. Welcome back. Today's video, we are going to talk about contentment on our frugal journey. When I looked up the definition of contentment, it said happy and satisfied with what you have. We sometimes, though, can lose sight of that contentment. Watching where our money goes, saving up for special items, making meals out of what we have in our home, zero food waste, can sometimes feel a little overwhelming maybe, but no, don't let it be. Let it be a source of joy. Let it be a source of peace and a source of contentment. Today, we're going to just show you real life examples of how we live a content, frugal life here in the home. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get outside. We're going to show you how our flower gardens are starting to wind down. We were gifted some perennials and we can't wait to see them next year. So just a quick glimpse of one of the ways we stay content, and that's by gardening flowers, vegetables, and making the outside of our homes pretty and cozy and give them a little bit of a curb appeal, spending minimal amounts of money. Let's get outside and see what the end of summer looks like here in the Northeast. It's that time of year where we need to deadhead our flowers and clean up our summer garden a little bit. Our coral bells were so beautiful, but now they need to be deadheaded, and we need to remove the ropes that held them up. We leave them up until there is no flowers left because we love that the butterflies and the bees still go in and out of them. So until there's really none left, which is about now, then we cut them down. So that's what I'm going to work on today. Even though it's the end of summer, we still want our gardens to be pretty and take care of them. So all I do is come way down here and cut it, get them out of here, deadhead them all. The leaves are still green, so it still makes a nice ground cover. So I'm going to clean this all up and we're going to make it look a little bit better.
A dear friend of ours gave us some plants that she had at her house, and we thought we'd put them in this little spot in our garden that has nothing really growing in it. So here they are in a bucket of water, and we're going to transplant these guys.
It's bee balm.
We're going to just put that in the ground.
And she gave it to us with some really nice roots on it. So I'm super happy about that. And as soon as she gave them to us, we just stuck them in this bucket of water. And now it's time to replant them right here. Some more wonderful perennials to look forward to seeing next summer. Towards the end of August, flowers start to fade here in the Northeast. But look at this beautiful, beautiful butterfly bush that is just coming to full bloom now. So pretty. We cleaned up the garden. We left some mint. And then we trimmed everything back. And what we love is that we use the wooden handmade flowers we buy from the Amish in Lancaster to just give a pop of color to our stone garden here, especially this time of year. Our black-eyed Susans are doing just beautiful. They are under our beauty bush. Look at them. We're getting new buds already. So lovely. And all these lights that we have throughout this little rock garden are solar lights Paul has put together and made from various bits and pieces. And what's so neat is if you look out the window to this yard in the evening, even in the middle of the night, they're all lit up in different colors, and it just makes the garden seem so alive and beautiful.
I actually found these being thrown out, and I just took them home, cleaned them up, charged up the batteries, and they work fine. So all these solar lights that you're seeing are free.
One of the flowers that are still going strong are our beautiful Rose of Sharon. They just bloom all the way through the end of August into September. Perennials are the way to go. We are stressing this more and more in our videos. You plant them once and they give you beauty for summers and summers to come. Another way we stay content is working on small projects. One of the things that I needed to do was do a little organizing. I'm going to show you what I'm working on, what I found in Hobby Lobby for under $4 that is going to radically change the way I store my recipes. So I encourage you, if you have little projects you want to get done, now as we're entering into fall, this will be a great source of contentment as you tackle those little projects. So let's see what I'm up to. What project am I working on right now? I am going to share it with you. The other day we stopped at Hobby Lobby and they were having a huge clearance sale. I did not get much, but this was something I have been looking for. So it really worked out well. This is a little recipe box. It was $2.24. And what was so great about this was not only is it really cute and pretty, it came with some recipe cards. So not only do I get these adorable recipe cards, which are all different, look at how pretty these are. I also get the dividers, appetizers, brunch, drinks, this and that, desserts. So I got all this for $2.24. Then, because I knew that wouldn't quite be enough, they had packages of recipe cards on sale as well. 49 cents for 25 cards. So for around $4, this was what I received. Now, what am I doing with this? Why do I need this? Here we go. Truth time, because this is what I am dealing with here. And these are recipes that I go back to that I have jotted down in the past and just never did anything with. And they're so cryptic. I'm not kidding. Like, this is a raspberry cake, but I can understand this, but no one else could probably. Here's my homemade hamburger helper recipe. And then also what I do is if I see a recipe in a magazine that I like, I will just pull the page out. And what I can do with these is just recopy them onto the card. Get rid of all these little scraps of paper. So this is the project I am working on. This will lead to total contentment for a minimal amount of money. This is going to be just a great project to work on as the colder months come into play, and what a feeling of satisfaction I will have. So I just want to encourage you, if you have projects like this laying around, now is the time that we get to them. I am so excited to have that done. And I'm not going to do it all at once. It's going to be a little bit at a time, but the end project will be so fulfilling. I can't tell you, I look at some of those pieces of paper and I'm like, what am I even reading? What is this I'm making? Yeah, I'm bad. So now I am going to rectify that situation, and I think I'm going to end up with a beautiful end product that I can be proud of. And another form of contentment is not wasting food for us. So we're going to get into the kitchen. We're going to make another zero food waste meal with bits and pieces and odds and ends from our pantry, refrigerator, and freezer. And we're going to create a company-worthy meal. So here you go. Let's get right into the kitchen. One thing that leads me to happiness and contentment is zero food waste, using up what we have in the refrigerator, freezer, pantry, and making them into wholesome, delicious meals. And that's what we're doing today. We've got a mishmash again of a bunch of ingredients. So right here, oh my goodness, this is cream that was whipped that I took out of the freezer. It is unsweetened. I had made a cake. I had some whipped cream left over, and the ingredient was just heavy cream. So I stuck it in the freezer. So we're going to be using that today. I've got a cup of my homemade turkey stock. I've got 2 pieces of bacon, 4 slices of some pretty stale sourdough bread that we need to use up. I pulled a little bit of cheese out of the freezer. We have a half of onion that we need to use. I found 2 ears of corn in my crisper drawer, and you can see they are drying out a little bit. I honestly had forgotten about them, but you can bet we're not going to waste those. Then we bought a bag of organic carrots, and honestly, I was kind of surprised. Some of them are so thin, so even one of them was just a half of a carrot. So we're going to use these and 2 potatoes. And we are going to come out with a scrumptious meal, I promise. I have yet to tell you what we're making. We are making a cheesy corn chowder with homemade croutons. Oh yeah, so good. So I just browned the bacon and I'm going to take it out. Now, if you have bacon grease, you can use that as well. You don't even have to use bacon, or you can leave the meat out completely. It's more for flavoring than anything. I'm now going to take the carrots and the onion and add it right. And what I did is just add just a little bit of the broth so that we deglaze this pan completely. And we're just going to let this cook for about 5 minutes until they're crisp tender. That's all. So while I'm sauteing the onions and carrots, Paul is going to remove all the corn from the 2 cobs. I'm going to take these 2 cobs and I am going to make corn broth out of them and freeze it. Basically what I do is I take these cobs, put them in a pot with water and some seasoning, onion, salt and pepper, and I just let them boil about an hour, get all this wonderful flavor. Corn cob broth is amazing. And then I just take it, put it in a freezer safe container, freeze it, and you have some wonderful, delicious broth. So I cooked this just for a couple of minutes, sauteed it. Now I'm going to add a tablespoon of flour. Just going to mix that all around. Coat the vegetables with it. Just stand here and turn it for a minute. You want to make sure that flour is completely cooked. Raw flour is not very tasty. So we just want to brown that over low heat just for a minute or so. My broth was frozen, so I melted it over low heat on the stove. Now I'm going to add that. This is just a cup of turkey stock. Put the heat up to medium and just deglaze this pan with that stock. You can use any kind of broth you want. It can be canned, it can be homemade, and I will link the original recipe I got the idea from. My recipe is a little bit different, but I can link the original down below. We're also going to add a cup of milk, and I always like to scrape the sides down because there's flavor up there as well. Now the bottom of the pot is nice and smooth, which means I deglazed it well. Now I'm going to add our potatoes. That was the 2 potatoes. We just cubed them, and then we're going to add our corn off the cob. It was about a cup and a half, a cup and 3/4. And you can use frozen corn if you have that as well. The best part of this stew, soup, whatever you want to call it, is that it only cooks for about 20 minutes. So this is a great easy meal. So I'm just going to add a little salt to taste, some pepper, give this a good mix. Now the sweetness from the carrots and the corn and the saltiness from the bacon, we're going to add the cooked bacon in at the end, is just going to make this so hearty and delicious. I'm going to cover this and simmer it for 20 minutes now. And what I'll do is every couple of minutes or so, I'll just give it a stir, make sure it's not sticking. I've got it on medium-low heat, and we just want it at a low simmer to cook the corn and the potatoes. I have 4 pieces of bread that were in my freezer for a while. We have started making our own bread now for a while, so this has been in there. So now what I'm going to do to make this even heartier and filling and delicious is I'm going to cube this bread, and we're going to make some delicious bread cubes to go right on top of it. And the good thing about this is it's not wasting anything. So I'm just going to cube this bread to start. So while our soup is simmering, we're going to make these croutons on top of the stove so we don't even have to heat up or turn on the oven. I have about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm just going to add the bread cubes right to it. If you don't want to use olive oil, you can certainly use butter. But you want to make sure these get nice and coated with that olive oil. I'm going to put them together, lay them flat like this. We're going to add a little onion powder, some garlic powder. I'm going to add some red hot pepper, but you don't have to. Some Italian herbs. And some ground black pepper. What a delicious topping this is going to make for that chowder. Now what you're going to do is just mix these, stand here for a few minutes, turning them, letting them get nice and crisp, and that is all there is to it. Shouldn't take more than a few minutes to get them nice and toasty. This cooked for 20 minutes. The potatoes and corn are tender, delicious. What happened to our cream? Well, here it is. What I'm going to do, and you do not have to do this. I am just doing it because I had it in the freezer. This is just going to make it luxurious. That's all I can say. But I am going to temper the cream. I'm adding a little bit of the hot soup to it, and I'm just giving it a mix. You can see how smooth and velvety. I didn't want to add it right to the soup because I was afraid it would curdle. Again, I'm just using up what we have, and this is gonna just send this soup over the edge. Now I'm just going to add it right in, mix this. Okay, are you feeling this? Because, oh my goodness. Look at this. We just took some super humble ingredients like I always tell you, and we have just elevated this to just something so delicious. So let me serve this up. Now I'm just going to take some of that cooked bacon that we had from earlier and put it on top, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of the cheese and put it on top. The original recipe said to mix the cheese in, but at this point I had already had the heavy cream and it would have just been a little overkill, I think. I added the croutons now as well. That cheese is melty. Look at this. What an amazing hearty meal out of simple, humble ingredients. This is true contentment, taking what you have, elevating it, making it company worthy. Your family is company. So we want to always put our best foot forward, no matter if we're cooking for just ourselves or for a party of 10. Zero food waste wins again. Oh my goodness. Was it Paul approved?
It was Paul approved, 100%.
One of the best things we've ever made. Honestly, we were like, oh my gosh, we have to stop eating this. I don't know whether it was the addition of heavy cream, the turkey stock, I don't know what it was, but that chowder was so delicious. I encourage you to be creative, think outside the box, use up those leftovers. Now our next segment, Paul is going to jump in. He found something in Goodwill the other day and he had a vision for it. And let me tell you, his little DIY brought contentment to my life because I am not in the dark recesses of our under the sink counter anymore looking for dish soap and sponges and my gloves to wash dishes. So let's see what he was up to.
The other day I was at Goodwill and I'm walking around looking at stuff and I see this nice heavy basket. I mean, this is real metal. I have no idea what this is for. If you know what this is for, please leave it in the comments. I just kept thinking about this thing. I said, I got to use this for something. But what I decided to do is I'm going to mount this underneath the sink cabinet to hold various items that we use every day. This way we don't have to go underneath and crawl and find this stuff. It's going to be right in the basket hanging on the wall. So let's mount this and see how it works. And don't forget, a form of contentment is being organized. You know, this is just, it got out of hand, and this is real life. So it's time to straighten up, be content in what we have, and look, you find things you didn't even know. There's a sponge right there. So this is a great project. So let's mount this and see how it works. So before I mount the screws through the back wall of this cabinet, I have to make sure that these drawers aren't going to interfere with the screws coming through the other side. And there's plenty of clearance, you can see by the tracks. So this is going to work out great. What I'm going to hang the basket to the cabinet with are these two screws, these two red drywall anchors. All you do is drill a hole, push the anchor into the hole, and then use the screw to fasten it to the cabinet. I also had these two little brackets. I have no idea what they're from, but you know me, I got cans of stuff in my shed. I save everything. So none of this cost me any money. This was just stuff I had laying around. So this is the anchor that I put in. I used two different size drill bits after I marked the location. I used a small drill bit first and then used a larger drill bit to size for the anchor. So there's one anchor, the other one's over there. That'll hold the screw into this press board backing and won't damage it. So here it is. For a few dollars in 15 minutes, I have a nice little basket to hold the things that we use pretty much every day. Perfect.
So that little DIY that cost a couple of dollars really changed the whole layout of what was under my sink. And lifting it off the ground, I don't have to bend over to get under there. It's arm's reach, and it really looks so much better. We decluttered everything, wiped everything down, and now it is really looking good and stress-free. Brought us contentment. Now, while we were at Goodwill the other day, guess what? We met another viewer. Hello, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
It was so wonderful. Again, we met another viewer. We were going into Goodwill. She was coming out and she's like, "Are you Frugal Money Saver?" And again, what a blessing to meet our viewers. I can't tell you, when we come home after meeting someone, we talk about it. We're like, "Oh my gosh, we met someone else." It is so fun. So thank you, Maria, for coming up to us and saying hello. We really appreciate it. So let's get to today's question of the day. What brings you contentment in your home? What do you enjoy doing? What area of homekeeping? What hobbies you may have? What brings you contentment in the home? Please share it with us down below, because it won't only encourage us on our frugal journey, but our viewers as well. Because being content on your frugal journey is so important. It helps you stay positive. It helps you stay focused on your goals. It helps you save money. It's just an all-around win-win. When you can find contentment in the little things, in the everyday, in the simple, in what we are to be thankful for, and in the abundance of what we have, every day you can't lose. Again, it's a win-win. So we thank you for spending this time with us. We appreciate you so much. We ask if you'd please give this video a big thumbs up. It helps us so much out in the world of YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, click that button, ring that notification bell, and become part of our family. We ask you to be well. We ask you to stay safe. And above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video, may God greatly bless you.